Live. We're live. We were recording before. Now we're live.
And Tom was speaking glorious French.
Oui.
And giving Roger control.
Ah.
True. Le control.
Le control pour le Roger.
It's French for the control. The
I like Roger because it's not English or French. It's
no, actually, but you pronounce it differently in French. But it's just the way you pronounce it in French is always.
Was it? Yeah.
No, it's
Roger.
Roger.
Roger. Oh, Roger. That would be Noir. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, Roger. So, and Roger is extremely old-fashioned in French.
Well, how is it old-fashioned? Like only old guys have that name?
Yeah, it's kind of a name that was popular for, I don't know, I guess our grandparents or something like that. Maybe, yeah.
Les grands-pères.
Yeah. So
I know single words.
No, it's fine. It's fine. You're just, if you don't say, I think you're at a level where you could create some kind of illusion.
Yeah, possibly.
So wait, then what would be a more contemporary name in France, like you would name a kid?
Nowadays?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know these last few years, but in recent years, it's been a return to much older names like Louis and Marie, like super traditional stuff.
So, Roger should make its turn.
I would say. Well, I'm sorry. I don't. It's not my call. Yeah, it's detect. You're absolutely right. It's kind of,
Am I hitting it?
Marcel, yes. François is
still a little.
It's a little bit closer to us, but Marcel is a little bit like Roger. It's the kind of thing that you could hear probably in World War II or something like that. Billy Bob is more like what, redneck or something like that, or hillbilly.
Ilia like Pharmacy. Billy Bob Boone Pharmacy.
What? Right. Yes, absolutely.
Well, I mean, really, isn't that just a shortened version of William Robert?
Yeah. Well,
just call him Will Bob, Willie Bob.
Yeah. And it's Richard. But Richard and William are from the same thing, right?
Yeah, William, isn't that more a Germanic name than a French name?
Seems so. No, but I mean, William and Richard, I thought were from the same origin.
Oh, no. Richard is from... No. Richard is the root name for Dick, Rick.
No, I know.
And then William is Billy.
Right.
They're two separate names.
No, I know, but I thought they were like etymologically linked. But I guess I'm
the same guy. William Richard.
You're we can barely hear you, Roger.
William Richard.
Oh, now we can.
There you go. Yeah.
Instead of leaning back away from the microphone, Doppler effect.
Laying down on his bed.
That is fantastic.
Doppler effect. Doppler effect.
All right. Shall we begin?
Let's.
All on Z.
Shall.
All right. Here we go. Daily Tech News Show is powered by you. Look, inside. It's you. To find out more, head to dailytechnewsshow.com/support. This is the Daily Tech News for Tuesday, November 7th, 2017 from DTNS headquarters in Los Angeles. I'm Tom Merritt.
And from the Helsinki offices, I'm Patrick Beja.
Oh, I love the sound of that. The Helsinki offices. Sarah Lane is off today doing some other... She's on assignment. Somebody else's assignment, but she's on assignment.
Right.
She'll be back with us on Thursday, though. Meanwhile, producer Roger Chang is still here. How are you, Roger?
I am still here.
That's good to know. Let's start with a few tech things you should know. Twitter announced it's rolling out 280-character tweets to everyone except for a few languages. The test was successful, so it's coming worldwide. You might not have it yet. I don't have it yet. Patrick doesn't have it yet, but supposedly coming. Chinese, Japanese, and Korean were exempted from the test, and they will continue to be exempted. They say that you can fit a lot more because of the way those languages work into 140 characters, so they're leaving those alone. All the other languages supposedly get 280 characters. Twitter says 9% of the tweets hit that 140 character limit in general, but during its test, only 1% of tweets hit the 280 character limit. So they think it's a better limit to let people say what they need to say.
I don't have it yet, as you said, but I think I agree. So we'll have to see how it works out. And Gadget Japan notes the Niche Phone S running Android 4.2 comes to Japan November 10th for $95. The super budget phone can make calls, send texts, play music, record voice memos, connect to Bluetooth headphones, and tether a laptop for 3G data.
At least that's what it looks like in the video. It's a cute little thing, though. It's got little touch buttons.
I wonder if, Android 4.2, does it still get updates, security updates? Although you can do so little with this one. Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Google Search and Google Maps will soon show you estimated wait times to get a seat at a restaurant at a particular time. Google estimates the times based on anonymized historical data. They've done this for bars and other businesses and public parks and stuff. So there you go.
Pretty good. Nokia and Vodacom announced Tuesday that the company will test 5G service in South Africa. Nokia will provide hardware, and the companies will focus on Ultra HD and VR video service.
Yeah, another country getting the 5G tests rolling out. See if you can jump into there. Now, here are some more. What's that?
I was going to say it's interesting that they're focusing on super bandwidth demanding things.
For the test, yeah. They're basically saying, like, let's just push as much data through this thing as we can. Yeah. Here we go. Here's some more top stories. Waymo is launching tests of its autonomous Chrysler Pacifica minivans with no safety driver. The cars will operate at level 4 autonomy on public roads, not closed courses, in Chandler, Arizona, which is outside Phoenix. Waymo employees will be the passengers at first, though they have plans to expand this to the public and eventually cover most of greater Phoenix.
I think Phoenix and outside Phoenix in particular is probably some of the best suited environments to test these kinds of things because you have clear roads. It's not New York, basically.
Yeah, it's dry. Roads are mostly on a grid. Doesn't snow ever. Yeah,
exactly. But still, it's kind of incredible how fast these things are going, because even if the test is not incredibly successful, they're at the level where they can do it. And only a few years ago, when experts were telling us we'll have autonomous cars in 2018, we're like, what are you smoking, you tech hippie? And turns out it's not everywhere, but that level of tests, I don't think we would have believed would happen so quickly.
Well, and I still am very conservative on when will we all get it, right? Like, when will we be able to, in most areas, I apologize because I'm leaving out my sister when I do this, but let's leave out the rural areas because those are harder to cover. Those have their own challenges. But in most metropolitan areas, when will we all be able to, as a regular course, be able to walk out our door and hail an autonomous car? I think that's a long way down the road still. There's just a lot of regulation, a lot of logistics, and a lot of things to work out. Business models, probably the hardest one, to be honest. They usually are in these situations. But we have the technology now is pretty exciting, and maybe it'll come faster than I think.
Yeah, no, and I think it's a different question. When will they be common is a very different question from when will they be technically possible, and not just possible, but used. And that when will they be technically used was something that I don't think most people would have agreed would come so quickly.
Yeah. I still think we may be decades away from widespread availability. But here we are. Like, unless something really unusual happens, I don't think Waymo would be risking this if they didn't think it would work.
And Fopos in the chat room is saying, I thought you were supposed to have drivers in them. I'm guessing that Waymo or, Phoenix or Arizona has specific regulations.
Yeah, no, Arizona has very loose regulations. They've been very cooperative with lots of different autonomous car companies. And this is the first one that won't need to have a driver in it.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. The latest patch from the Pixel 2 contains a new saturated color option, fading nav bars to help extend the life of the OLED screen, and a fix for the clicking noise made by NFC. It also patches the crack Wi-Fi vulnerability.
Yeah, sorry I left out a C in your copy there.
I got it. I am tech literate. I knew about the crack vulnerability, of course. And I figured that was what it was referring to.
Yeah, so fixing the crack vulnerability is
the things.
That's a big one, but this is like all the complaints from launch. This patch covers them all. The people are like, it looks too blue, and Pixel's like, it's supposed to be. I mean, Google says it's supposed to be, but we'll give you a saturated color option if it's not to your taste. Oh, you're worried about OLED burn-in? You think your nav bars are sticking around? Great, we'll have those fade out. No worries. NFC making a clicking noise? I don't know why that's happened, but we stopped it. So none of these I think were deal killers, and they are all the kinds of complaints that people have when a phone is really popular, and so all the attention is on it. Pretty crazy to see them all fixed in one blow, though.
Yeah, it's basically Google saying to the world, don't worry, peeps. We got it. We got you, fam. We're good.
And the world will say, I found a new problem that you didn't fix. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yes and no. I think it's important that Google shows if there are issues, they will fix them. They're on it, and, you can buy the phone, and issues always happen. But, for every phone, every manufacturer, but Google says, we got you. And that's important.
Amazon has released a new version of the Fire TV stick called the Basic Edition in 100 countries. Unlike the Fire TV stick that's been on sale in the US, the Basic Edition doesn't have Amazon voice services because most of the markets don't have Amazon Echoes yet, so they haven't launched Amazon voice services in those markets. HD Video Stick is listed as $50, which is more expensive than the one in the US, but you also get free shipping. It's a little weird. Prices vary by region anyway, so it depends on your local currency, really.
Does that include VAT and taxes and stuff like that?
That's true. It probably that list price must include that too.
Yeah, that's usually the case,
and that would make sense. It is weird. Like India just got the Amazon Echo, but this is not launching with Amazon Voice Services. Probably for SKU simplicity. They're like, we've got a US version and a not US version. Everybody else gets the not US version. But Amazon Prime launched in 200 countries, something like that. So not even all the countries with Amazon Prime are getting the Fire TV stick. And this is kind of an essential to get people really on board with something like Amazon Prime Video, is to have a way to easily watch it on the TV.
It's coming to the Apple TV soon.
Yeah, fall. So until December 21st, it's not late.
Yeah, I mean, we're still waiting for Echo in France, so I don't know. Whatever. I don't even care. I don't want it. I'm done, Amazon. I'll just keep using your sweet Prime. All right. Slurping ramen noodles, and I can't believe this is a tech story. Slurping ramen noodles is a sign of enjoyment, but Nissin wants to make it a quieter sign. The Otaku Fork uses noise cancellation to mask the slurps. Nissin collected many slurps to train the noise cancellation. The fork sends a signal to the phone, which then emits audio to cancel out the noise. Nissin is crowdfunding the fork for 14,800 yen. That's about $130. If it gets 5,000 orders by December, they're just as likely to get 5,000 as they are 500,000, to be honest. By December 15, it plans to ship the fork in early 2018. Isn't that wonderful, Tom?
Yes. This is an example. There's a few reasons I like this story. One, I just think it's hilarious that anyone would need a noise canceling fork for their noodles. The whole point of slurping your noodles is to show your enjoyment of them. And as you pointed out, Patrick, one shouldn't really be eating their noodles with a fork.
It's possibly the most ridiculous tech story ever. I'm fairly sure it's not even a. I mean, it's half a joke, half a viral.
It's a real product. They
Yes,
are they launched it at the end of October. You can order it, and I bet they do get 5,000 of these because Nissin, if you don't know, is the noodle maker. They make the cup of noodles. So of course they want to drum up business for the noodles. I think it is exactly the example of the kind of thing we usually don't talk about as AI on this show, because they're trying to make it sound like there's machine learning. That they're like, oh, we've recorded all the slurps and we've used those. Well, used is not machine. There's no machine learning here. They're very careful to skirt that issue and make it sound like it is. Like we trained it with lots of slurps. From what I can tell, I looked at CNET, I looked at a few different places. It just emits white noise.
And the white noise isn't really even white noise. It doesn't really cancel the slurp. It masks it with some kind of different sounding whoosh or mix between whoosh and slurp sounds. And yes, as you said, people don't eat noodles with forks unless they really don't know how to use chopsticks, which I would encourage people to learn how to use chopsticks. But in Japan, certainly no one uses it.
And this is only on sale in Japan. So
yeah. And the fork is ginormous. Like there's a tiny little fork end, and the other part is like, imagine an overgrown electric toothbrush, which has some kind of illness, that makes it bulge. It's a ridiculous product, and I think it's not even funny as a joke. It's my Japanese sensibilities being annoyed here, but I think it's just dumb.
All right. Furniture Today reports that Amazon has started selling its own brands of furniture now. You've probably seen Amazon selling electronics and wires and maybe even some clothing. Mid-century modern styled furniture called Rivet is Amazon made, and a higher priced modern brand called Stone and Beam is also for sale. The collections include sofas, accent chairs, sectionals and love seats, tables, storage, ottomans, lighting, rugs, and wall art. So watch out, Wayfair. Amazon's coming at you. Amazon also expanding its private label line of apparel. Good Sport is a new budget activewear brand, kind of like Champion. Peak Velocity is a premium men's activewear brand, similar to Nike or Under Armour. And Rebel Canyon is a leisure, they call it athleisure. I cannot bring myself to say that. It's a leisure athletic brand, similar to Lululemon. But the company store becoming wider and wider. Now, I have not knowingly bought anything that is an Amazon in-house product myself, except for one USB cable, which broke. So I'm not too well chuffed, as they say, about the Amazon products, but maybe I've bought some clothing and I didn't even know it. I don't buy a lot of clothing on Amazon, so I doubt it, but I would never know that these Peak Velocity brand is Amazon's, and they don't tell you that. They just sort of put it in with all the other search results.
And the interesting thing is they have so much data. They know what sells and what doesn't and what people like. And this makes me think, it's not so much IKEA that this makes me think about, although the design seems kind of Scandinavian almost for the few examples we've seen, which I like, of course. But it makes me think of Mujirishi Ryohin. Do you know that brand, Muji?
Yeah, we have a store in Santa Monica, actually.
Right. So this is a Japanese brand where the original intent was to make no brand good products. And it became incredibly popular because they were, especially in Japan, cheaper. But it seems that Amazon is doing this for everything now. And of course, it's like a house brand, right? It's like a store brand, I would say.
Yeah.
Except it seems like they're betting on a little bit higher, like basic but good quality, which is what Muji is doing. This is, clever and scary, and a growth of Amazon beyond what they started to do, which they're always growing. I would buy something like that, probably, I'm guessing. And I don't know. It's just another example of Amazon eating the world.
Yeah, no, that's the thing, right? I look at some of the furniture, the apparel not really my thing, but I look at some of the furniture and I'm like, man, I've got a mid-century modern house I'm renting here. Like that would fit right in. Looks real nice. We're not in the market for anything, but we usually have gone to Wayfair if we don't go to some local store. So this could start pulling people away. And then I get exactly where you ended up, which is, but do I want that? Like, I guess I want it if it's at the right price and it looks good and it's quality furniture, but do I want Amazon to have this much power over everything that I buy, which we've talked about before on the show, of course, but yeah. Hey folks, if you want to get all the tech headlines each day in about 5 minutes, be sure to subscribe to Daily Tech Headlines. Get everything right in your ears at dailytechheadlines.com or on the Amazon Echo and in the Anchor app at anchor.fm. Xbox One X is out today and getting into people's, I'm sure they're not grubby. I'm sure they almost said grubby little hands. I'm sure they're very clean hands. You've got a brand new Xbox One X. You don't want to get that dirty. So it made Patrick think about all of this talk when the Xbox One X and the PlayStation 4 Pro were announced about the death of consoles. Oh, we're moving to the phone model. Consoles will never be the same again. Let's check in on that theory, Patrick.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm a big gaming fan. I was just at BlizzCon, where I had the pleasure of seeing you, by the way, Tom.
Yeah, it was very nice to see.
It was just a couple of days ago. The wonders of plane travels and jet lag. But yeah, so this is a story that I've been following very closely because, of course, it's at the intersection of gaming, and tech gaming and tech with phones. It was really only a year and a half or 2 years ago where people were making the predictions, or at least making the bringing forward the theory that console cycles could transform into phone cycles. And the theory was made a lot of sense because we had these mid-cycle upgrades which were being announced. So for people who aren't aware, both the PlayStation Pro and now both the PlayStation 4 and now the Xbox One have mid-cycle upgrades which are more powerful. In the case of the Xbox One, much more powerful, and that can play for which all games are available on both models. Traditionally, when you would have an upgrade, the new console would sometimes play the games from the old console, but the reverse wouldn't be true. So the games which would come out on the new machine would not be playable on the old machine. And that's why we're calling those a mid-cycle upgrade, because everything works, all games work on both machines. So this led to a lot of people speculating, well, maybe that's the way things go forward forever, in kind of a phone/PC model where you have a number of different consoles and all the games work, but with better graphics or different functionalities on all those models. And it made a lot of sense, right? I think I thought it might happen. I think you, Tom, would agree it was a possibility, right?
Certainly a possibility. I always felt like it was a bit of an exaggerated fear because I didn't think that we'd see this happen overnight. But it certainly seemed like it fit in Microsoft's way of doing things very well, where Windows 10 is the last Windows you'll ever need, right? We'll just keep updating it. Like, oh, I guess they could do the same thing with the Xbox.
Yeah. And so now we have a little bit of data, not necessarily for the Xbox One X, of course, which just came out today, but certainly for the PlayStation Pro. And the numbers we have are that it sells about 1 in 5 machines is a Pro model. In the case of the Xbox One X, what Phil Spencer, the Xbox boss, was saying is that they expected it to be roughly in that ballpark, that they didn't expect it to be a replacement for the existing model, but rather to live along with it and be a pro option, like an option for demanding gamers.
Yeah, the way with a Windows laptop, you might buy an ultralight or you might buy like a desktop replacement, to oversimplify.
Right. And so with that, what's been happening is that the Pro versions or the Xbox One X, we're guessing, are getting some attention, but not a huge amount of attention, because we get into the issue of market share and installed base, of course, which developers look at very closely when they're developing a game and assigning resources to different features for that game. So not only did the PlayStation 4 come out a year ago and has been selling about 1 to 4 compared to the base model, but you also have the history of 3 years of the console where it was only the base model which was available, meaning the installed base is much bigger for the base model compared to the Pro model. We're guessing that it's going to be something similar for the Xbox One X, meaning developers have very little incentive to develop for the more expensive model, right? If the games are going to be available on all models.
Because you want to sell as many as possible, right? So
of course,
you want it to be playable by the most number of people.
So that begs the question, if the next model of those consoles are the PlayStation 4 Super Pro and the Xbox One XXX,
yeah.
Will
and do we make another one of those jumps where, okay, with the XXX, you can't play the XXX games on the Xbox One anymore, that kind of thing?
Well, so that's the question. What if everything remains compatible? Then the developers would have, again, even less incentive to develop features that are specific to those high-end consoles, because the installed base for the other ones are much bigger. And that's what we've been seeing now. So I'm kind of thinking that the industry is looking at this now and thinking, well, it's not looking so likely anymore that we're not going to get a clean break, because what happens when you get a clean break, it only works if you have competition. If you have at least two companies competing for gamers' bucks, then if one of them does a clean break and has the new super duper ultra powerful console, then the first not first responders, but the
early adopters. Yeah.
Thank you. There you go. That's the word I was looking for. The early adopters are going to flock to it. It's going to be a new market that is has low installed base, but everyone is going to buy every game that comes out because there is so little offering on that machine, and that motivates people to buy it, motivates developer, etc. It's a virtuous circle, but that only works if the games are exclusive to that new device. And if the company that does it manages to create that dynamic, they get a head start in that new generation, which then becomes something that is very appealing to gamers. So the other company also has to do that, and that's how the console cycles are created. If we're in a scenario...
Yeah, go ahead. Don't finish up.
If we're in a scenario where everything is compatible with everything, if the forward compatibility actually is maintained, then developers don't have that incentive to develop exclusively for that new machine. So I think that the idea that we won't get new machines, new consoles that are independent, that do that clean break, is getting less and less likely, because by 2020, it doesn't need to be both manufacturers that create a new device, and it's looking like Sony is looking at a PlayStation 5 that would be a clean break, backwards compatible but not forwards compatible.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I think you're right that we might get one more round of that, but I still, here I am, the guy who was making fun of everybody proclaiming the death of consoles. I don't think it'll be the death of consoles, but I think what Phil Spencer said, kind of as an aside, about Microsoft looking into a streaming service, which Sony already has, but it's early. And the reason he gave that Microsoft hasn't done it up till now is to say, we tried it, cost too much. But we also run Microsoft Azure, and that cost is coming down. Also, my boss, Satya Nadella, is all about services, 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 not hardware, hardware, hardware. Hardware is the thing that leads people to buy the services. I think Microsoft is definitely headed down the road where they say, we really don't care what box you have, whether it's our Xbox or a Windows machine or even a Mac or an Android device. We want to provide a service where you play all the games and you pay us for that. And I think this is where this is going eventually. I think Sony, which has already got a foot in that water, will get there as well. I don't know what the year is, and I don't think it's soon. So that's why I say I think we might have one more round of the step forward that says, PS5, Xbox 100, those are no longer, those are backwards compatible, but the games made for those won't necessarily work with the old versions. But that may be the last time.
Yeah, so that's what I think is more likely as well. The phone model is not necessarily as much in the cards anymore, meaning bi-yearly updates, but these streaming services, the really interesting thing, and that's kind of why I mentioned video testing when we were talking about 5G, not necessarily for the 5G element, but video plateaus, like demands in video, unless you go to 4K, which we might, but at some point you get 1080p capabilities for most internet connections that are just the default, right? 1080p streaming. And when we reach that, the consoles can grow, quote unquote, in power without costing more bandwidth, because it's the same images you're sending.
I'm just going to interject real quick because I know we're running short on time. But I think what we've seen is that the shift is no longer the target of the hardware, right? For the past 7, 8, every hardware iteration that came out was the target. That's what you aim for. That was a platform. I think what we now have, at least with Xbox and PlayStation as well, is that the platform is the services, the environment, the ecosystem that the companies are presenting. That is the platform. It's no longer just the hardware. Hardware is the enabler. It allows you to do this stuff. But in the future, I mean, if you can get exclusive games and you're playing like what Tom was saying is on an Android or whatever device, it's immaterial, right? As long as you buy this amazing game, you're having fun, someone gets paid, Microsoft or PlayStation gets their cut, everyone's going to be happy. I think what you see is you just need the hardware that's capable enough to run that service, and then you don't necessarily need to dump as much development money that side, while you can put more money into the services that attracts hopefully more eyeballs.
I could respond to that, but that would be an entire other show. So let's
go subscribe to Pixels, or I don't know, maybe DTNS Labs gaming edition. Hey, thanks to all those who participate in our subreddit. You can submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com and facebook.com/groups/dailytechnewsshow. Our message of the day comes from Travis in San Antonio, who wanted to throw one more idea into this phrase, the wisdom economy or the wisdom workforce. He says, listen, in my mind, a significant chunk of wisdom is knowledge acquired over time. When they can take the accumulated knowledge of thousands of medical cases and from their experience make a determination, that sounds like a lot of aspects of wisdom. To me, what the computers have locked down is the IQ tasks, aka an IQ economy, and what they lack is the personal touch, customer service, bedside manner. I propose the emotional quotient, or EQ economy. People with low EQ jobs may be in a position to be replaced. So I think the wisdom economy is something that AI is too far away to replace now, but I think Travis is on to the next phase. Like once AI and machine learning gets good enough to be able to acquire wisdom, which it could at some point, then it becomes our only advantage is emotions. Those are really difficult to replicate. And even if a machine can convince you that it's feeling care for you, you're probably going to know it's a machine, and that's just going to be different.
But is it though? That's the big question. Is it different because it's a machine? And I think that it's going to be very exponential. Once it has, intelligence, wisdom, it sort of cascades into emotions, I think, or it will very quickly.
Yeah.
So.
And it may be able to create, we may be able to create convincing enough bodies that we just won't know who's human and who isn't.
Exactly. I guess the real question is, do androids dream of electronic sheep?
Or do
Right?
electronic sheep dream of humans?
Ah,
Electric sheep, actually.
electric.
But, yeah. Well, thank you, Patrick Beja, as always. Mentioned Pixels just now, which is one of your many fine shows at FrenchSpin.com.
Yeah, absolutely. So Pixels is a show about games and the general industry, general gaming show. And last episode, we had a special for BlizzCon, which I also mentioned, where we had a number of great guests. We had, well, I'm not going to tell the names because they probably don't mean anything to the listeners of DTNS, but it was a really great show. And I encourage you to go listen to it if you're interested in Blizzard announcements. It's available at FrenchSpin.com. Or just go check Pixels on your podcasting app. Just look for Pixels and you'll find it.
Keep the momentum going, patrons. We are rising over our previous number of patrons last month, and we love to see that. We want to keep going and see just how many we can get in November. So if you haven't backed us yet, take a look at all the rewards. There's some exclusive columns. There's some exclusive audio shows, and there's all kinds of other cool stuff. You can find out all about it at patreon.com/DTNS. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. We're live Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 21:30 UTC this time of year at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv. Our website is dailytechnewsshow.com, and we'll be back tomorrow with Scott Johnson. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
I just realized something.
Yes.
You changed the color of the first line in the show notes to indicate when we're reaching the end of the segment.
Roger was on that today, too. That was really good. That was super helpful, Roger.
But I didn't realize that's what it was. I saw it changing colors, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I understood. It's very clever.
I'm sorry we did. I thought we explained that to you. I apologize that we didn't. But yeah,
I must have missed it, or maybe I wasn't listening. I wasn't paying attention. It's very possible.
Maybe you were jet lagged again for some reason.
But yeah, so next time I'll know, and I will act accordingly by trying.
Well, I thought you did know because you were acting accordingly, and
yeah, I sort of figured it out by the end, but. You've been doing it for a while, and I've wondered for, basically 10 days. I wonder what those colors
Why is that
It's
happening?
10 days, like several weeks.
Yeah, no, I know. It's just, I don't know. I'm slow sometimes.
That's
I
okay.
had to be in a state of jet lag.
I was going to say that, like, Roger was super on, like, even in the top stories. That was great, and that really helped me to feel comfortable. Like, oh, he'll tell me when it's time to move on, and he did, and it worked. Yay!
Move. I need to map those to keystrokes.
Oh
That way
yeah,
I can just hit. But
that'd be helpful.
I don't know if you can do that. Google's.
So,
All right, Showbutt.
what's on the show? But
I can't believe this is a tech story. Xbox as a service, XBAAS.
yeah,
Waymo shouts first on public driverless cars. I guess who gets to write shotgun on that car? Noise canceling forks. Self-driving cars and mirror are closer than they appear.
The answer to your shotgun question is both. Both people in front are riding shotgun, actually.
you don't have to sit in the driver's seat though. You can just be in the back.
Yeah.
True.
There could be no shotgun.
Tech aid in a decade. Arizona's loose regulations. Amazon Basics everything. The $130 forks. Cancel the slurp. I'm amazed they didn't try to make like noodles that weren't so elongated. And that way you would help solve the slurping problem.
No, but
Sure.
then you can't really eat them with chopsticks. It's more
Yeah.
difficult.
Not if
You
they
have
were
to eat them
macaroni.
with chopsticks. Come on.
Yes.
Eat with your hands. A bunch of-
Well, when you get to the broth, yeah, you just dip it back.
You just
Early adopters versus first responders. Consoles get one up. Tom leaves out
You
his
tech
sister.
hippie. I like you tech hippie. It's not very
Amazon
descriptive,
invents
though.
the fire, trained with lots of slurps.
I need the title now. So
DTNS consoles you over console concerns. Oh, consoles you over console concerns.
Well, the largest one, the one with the most votes is I can't believe this is a tech story. But
it's.
I go with the XBAAS.
I like Xbox as a service. That's my favorite.
okay.
All right. That's what I'm doing.
You are the boss after all.
Every once in a while, I get to act like it.
This is an executive decision.
Yeah. My official title is member.
Oh, really?
A member of the Limited Liability Corporation. I'm the
Are you
only
not-
member.
Are you not the CEO?
No, I mean, I could make myself the CEO, but I haven't. We don't.
We have to have a president in France.
I would prefer to be a member is the only thing you have to have for an LLC anyway. If you have a corporation, and there's different rules, I think. But
so that's because I have a corporation,
yeah,
I guess.
they're
I'm
all
president.
I would be the managing director. Like there's
Ooh,
the
that's
board of
fancy,
directors, and then I'm the managing director because I'm not only a director from the board, but I also manage the company.
I'm the president of myself.
That's
So,
awesome that you have to be president. Like, sorry,
Yeah.
you have to,
I feel a lot. I feel very fortunate.
I apologize for not constantly introducing you as President Patrick Beja.
We can fix that. You
Yeah.
know, there's.
President Beja.
I
What
think,
do you think?
actually, I would enjoy being referred to and addressed as President Beja.
Now, President Beja, what do you feel the console cycle will continue to be?
Well, listen, Mr. Merritt. I believe that it's very clear we are entering a different era, and we need to be ready.
Console as a service. You heard it here first. Be a service.
Oh, President Patrick, Zoe brings bacon. Captain Jack, I think I like the alliteration of President Patrick more than President not Patrick.
Yeah.
So, President Patrick.
President Pat.
And I will be
President Pratt.
I'll be Manager Merritt.
Ooh, nice. Excellent.
No, your nickname will be.
Well, mine is. All right.
No end of entertainment. Yeah. I'll never get tired from our Helsinki office, by the way. That's
Yeah.
also
You like it?
that also there's something sounds really cool about that to me.
And unfortunately, it's only going to be that for a few more months. Then it will be.
Then it's back to
know.
Paris.
No, it's the Finnish countryside.
Oh, right. You won't. What? So what's the nearest town to the Finnish countryside?
I don't want to say the name.
Okay, so it's no, I get you. It's that small that you're like, that would be like giving out my address. Okay, it's
Yeah,
not.
exactly.
It's not like you're in the Helsinki area. Is kind of where I was going with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. That Finnish countryside is glorious. It just sounds so pastoral and lovely. But the Helsinki office really makes us sound like we're part of Interpol or something. I don't know why.
Well, we'll find something.
That
We'll
or
find
just like a modern furniture design house.
Or that. Yeah.
We'll find something. We'll make it work.
Like when I hear the name Copenhagen, I always think of the furniture store Copenhagen.
Everyone does. That's what everyone thinks of.
I think of the chewing tobacco.
Oh, that I don't know.
Chewing tobacco isn't popular in France, is it?
No, it's in Sweden. I don't know that it is in Denmark. In Sweden, they definitely. Well, it's not chewing actually. They have this horrible thing called snus, which is tobacco. They put. You know that?
Yes, we call it snuff, but yeah, same thing.
Okay, well there you go.
Stick it up your nose, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Not your nose. No. It's like a little packet that you put basically
Between upper lip.
between your tooth and your teeth and lip. You know,
Yeah.
up here. Oh, so
That's chewing tobacco, even though you don't chew it per se.
Oh, okay.
Just
all
a
right.
pinch
Chewing
between the
tobacco,
cheek and gum.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Skull.
and you spit out regularly. It's nasty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's horrible. It's it's terrible. And, you know, it's not like cigarettes are wonderful.
No,
and
of course,
healthy,
but yeah.
if you manage to have something that makes cigarettes look less horrible, then
I'm not surprised at all. I was about to say I'm surprised, but it would have been interesting had the movement to outlaw smoking in bars led to an uptake in spittoons.
in what?
When they said, oh, you can't smoke in bars anymore in the U.S., so like swept the nation, right?
Yeah.
That would have been followed by an installation of spittoons again, which is
But what's spittoons?
It's a little thing where you spit your tobacco juice.
Okay.
And
Ever see a Western?
they're
where
always
they-
in the old West bars, yeah.
Right. I just watched Peaky Blinders,
Uh-huh.
and they use that a lot, which
Yep.
is
A lot of spittoons in there.
so disgusting.
Too bad spittoons didn't catch on again. The spittoon revival.
Glad they're gone.
Turns out, though, you still get cancer in your mouth, and that's just not fun.
Indeed.
So kids, don't do that.
Don't chew.
My mom wouldn't buy Big League Chew, which was a bubblegum imitator of chewing tobacco.
A bubblegum imitator of
Yeah,
chewing
so it
tobacco?
came in the same kind of pouch as some of the chewing tobacco came.
Oh
And
my
then
God, that's
you pull
horrible.
out some chewing gum and then you chew it, you know. I
That
loved
is-
it. It was great. I was
Right,
like, oh,
that's what
it
I
got
meant,
really
obviously.
nasty in Major League Baseball when some of the players would make Big League Chew
Right.
with tobacco, and they would blow these bubbles, but they were black because there's tobacco. It's just so gross. It's just really. I'm glad they moved on to sunflower seeds.
Ooh, there's 3 seasons of Peaky Blinders. Nice. I didn't realize. I just watched the first one on the plane over.
Oh,
Right.
that's good. That's good plane watching. That's a good call.
Mhm.
I've been watching movies when I've been on planes lately.
Yeah, it's more difficult to transport on an iPad.
Yeah.
That
I-
I have, I made use for the first time of the Netflix download
Yeah.
thing to be illegal.
I did that on the way back from the UK because they have Star Trek Discovery elsewhere,
Right.
And so I wasn't able to watch it on CBS All Access because I was in the UK, right? It's like, you're not allowed. So I downloaded it on Netflix, watched it on the plane ride back.
Yeah, that's very, very handy.
I'm like, that's legal. I'm within my terms of service right now.
Absolutely.
Not getting around any rules. It's the way you want it to work, people. So that's what I did.
Yeah, I think it's and that's thanks to DRM. I guess if there was no DRM, it wouldn't be a problem.
You could
either.
still violate the terms of service, but it wouldn't.
I
you
guess,
wouldn't
yeah.
have as many problems doing it. All right. Well, thank you all for watching, hanging out, helping Patrick recover from his jet lag. I'm sure you've cheered him up quite a bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And like I said, Scott Johnson tomorrow, and Sarah's back on Thursday. We'll see you guys later.